Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope that you are all well and safe. And this week I'm going to be talking about the difference between the unit planning steps for a intradisciplinary content-driven unit, an intradisciplinary process-driven unit, and then the different steps for a interdisciplinary unit. So if you're interested in finding out the differences between the three different types of units and the unit planning steps, then please keep on watching. Okay, so I'm just going to make myself a little bit smaller and start off with the steps for interdisciplinary content-driven subjects. And let me give you some examples of what subjects are actually interdisciplinary content-driven. So content-driven subjects are subjects such as science, history, social studies, geography, and I would even present the idea that mathematics is a content-driven discipline with processes. So every single discipline area has a mixture of content and processes, and we draw concepts from the content and processes. But some discipline areas are more content driven and some subject areas are more process driven. So in an interdisciplinary, so within the discipline area content driven unit, for example, again, history, social studies, geography, science, mathematics. So we start brainstorming a unit web, and this should be done collaboratively. So we actually start with our standards and the content that we need to cover. And that could be the NGSS, it could be the Common Core standards, it could be your own national or state standards. And once you have those standards as a skeleton to be able to build your curriculum and instruction around, you collaboratively brainstorm a unit web. So the unit web will reflect the content, it will reflect the concepts also, and it will reflect the teaching order. So when you actually look at the web, you can actually see a map or an overview of the entire unit. What I'm going to do is put a link to this in the comment section below so that you can actually have a look at the steps. But we brainstormed the unit web first, so that's a big overview. From there, we actually then identify the conceptual lens. That's really important because the conceptual lens allows for that focus of the unit and allows the synergy between the facts and skills and the conceptual understandings. And after that, we would then craft generalizations that actually drive the learning experiences. So we want to be able to see what is the deep, important conceptual understandings that you want students to take away from this particular unit. And normally there's around 5 to 9 for secondary units and 4 to 7 for primary units. And then the rest of the steps are the same for a process-driven unit and also an interdisciplinary unit. So we then craft guiding questions. We include the KUDs because students need to be able to know, do, and understand from a three-dimensional curriculum design model. Then we design the authentic performance assessment task, and this can be culminating or it can be actually carried out during a unit. So it doesn't actually have to be at the end of a unit. So that's why I don't call it a culminating performance task, but it's an authentic performance assessment task. Then we plan the learning experiences based on the generalizations that you crafted in step one. And then I think towards the end, we start thinking about a unit overview. You know, what is that hook that you want to share with students about the scenario and about this unit? Creating an engaging title, and then of course going through that trial, reflect and improve process, that cycle, so that you're constantly improving the unit and it's not set in concrete. So if I go to the process driven unit, the only difference here is the brainstorming section here. So in a content driven unit, the strands around the web you create based on the content of that subject area. But for all process-driven disciplines, so they're like ELA, performing arts, drama, PE, all modern languages or any foreign language or any languages that are additional languages, we would actually use these four strands based on the work of Lois Lanning. So we'd have understanding, let's say it was looking at ELA, We would say understanding text, responding to text, producing text, and critiquing text. And we would still start off with the standards. So if you're using, for example, Common Core for ELA, you would look at the standards that you want to be covered in that particular unit, and then you would mix those standards. So maybe they're reading and writing, listening, speaking standards. You would then put them under the headings of understanding, responding to, producing, and critiquing text. And then the last unit that I wanted to talk about was the interdisciplinary unit. So everything is pretty much the same, except that first step again, the brainstorming part, which is, of course, I want to emphasize collaborative. So instead of the strands being the understanding, responding, critiquing, producing, or in a content web, instead of it being different strands depending on the content, each strand in an interdisciplinary unit, it represents the subject area or the discipline area. So maybe you want to create an interdisciplinary unit that connects a science topic with a mathematics topic, with, let's say, geography topic, then each of the strands around the unit web would actually be the subject area. So that, in a nutshell, is the difference between the three different types of unit planners. It's only in that brainstorming unit web part that's a little bit different. If you have any questions about concept-based curriculum and instruction and unit planning and these steps, please feel free to put it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for joining me again this week, and please stay safe, everyone. Take care. Bye.